welcome back to my channel. Today we're making a sour cream coffee cake. There are 3 parts to this cake, but before I get into that, I have a little fun story to tell you about this cake. I learned how to make it when I was in culinary school. I mean, the recipe has changed since then, but this was one of the cakes that I butchered. And when I say I butchered, we made the cake and it was lunchtime and we all had to go have our lunch in 30 minutes and come back. The cake took 45 minutes to bake, so we had enough time. But I said, no, I'm gonna sit outside the oven and watch the cake and see what happens, because I wanted to watch it happen in front of me. I had my lunch in a plate and I was eating it while I was watching the cake rise and looking at the oven. And then I wanted to use the restroom, so I left. I came back. I took out the cake and it was burnt because I left it in there for like, I think it was 5 minutes too long. Moral of the story is basically don't leave your cakes unattended. If it says 45 minutes, put a timer and make sure you check your cake just before the timer goes off or as soon as the timer goes off. Don't wait any longer. I did make the cake at home again because I had to prove to my chefs that I could make the cake. I wasn't stupid. So I made the cake at home. I took slices for everybody and I felt better. But anyway, let's get back to the cake and let's get back to baking. There are 3 parts to this recipe. The first is the cake, the second is the streusel, and the third is the icing. To make the cake, you could use a stand mixer like I am today, or you could use an electric beater, or you could use a whisk and just beat it by hand. However, you would need a lot more elbow grease to get the consistency right. To make the streusel, everything goes into a bowl and you just use your hands to mix them. To make the icing, you only need a whisk to whisk the icing sugar and the lemon juice together. I think we can get started. What do you think? So I want to start by adding my butter, which is at room temperature. It is fair for me to tell you that all your ingredients should be at room temperature. I then want to add my sugar. I'm using white granulated sugar. I'm using a paddle attachment to beat this together. I want to cream it until it is pale and fluffy. So you want to scrape down your bowl every now and then just to ensure that all the butter and the sugar has been combined. Now I'm gonna add my first egg and I'm gonna add the vanilla, but I just want you to have a look at the consistency. You're not gonna have it completely creamed up because the sugar is granulated sugar, but you can see it's gotten lighter in color and it has gotten paler, which is fluffier, which is good. Let's go in with the second egg. I'm now going to go in with my third egg. Make sure to scrape down the sides every now and then. So once your last egg is incorporated, we now need to start adding our sour cream and our flour mixture. But before I add my sour cream mixture, I want to talk to you about it for a hot second. I am using yogurt. Sour cream is not easily available in supermarkets, and if you don't have it accessible, you absolutely could use yogurt, no problem. What I do like to do is, I like to add a bit of fresh lemon juice into my yogurt just to give it a bit more tang. And this ensures it activates the baking soda once the batter is mixed together. So before we can continue making the batter, I want to talk about how you can weigh out your dry ingredients. You should be doing this way before you start baking, just letting you know that. I think there's a misconception on how to weigh them out. So when you start with any recipe which asks for flour, you want to spoon the flour into the cup measure, for example. This is only for cups. If you're doing weight, obviously you have a weighing scale, you don't have to worry about this. So you want to fill it to the brim. As you can see, I'm overfilling it. It's completely overfull. And then I want to use a knife of any sort and just clean the top. So I'm not tapping it down, I'm not packing it in because I don't want all that extra flour. I just want the amount that's required. Okay, let's get back to it. So I want to add 1/4 of my yogurt mixture. And I want to go with 1/4 of my flour mixture. I'm eyeballing this, but you could use a 1/4 cup measure if you like. And the last bit of flour. And then I'm gonna add my baking powder and baking soda. So let's get on to the streusel, which is basically a crumble topping. You want to start with your flour, and I like using oats because I think it adds a bit more crunch. Then I'm gonna add my brown sugar. I'm gonna add my cinnamon powder. So I want to just start by mixing everything together. So I'm then gonna add my butter into the dry ingredients. and I want to just mix this around and just rub it between my fingers basically. Once you've got this texture, you're good to go. Once your crumble mixture looks like this, you then want to add in your walnuts. I'm going to leave some behind to top on the cake later. So I'm going to be using a bun tin to make this cake. You could use a loaf tin, but this is a lot of batter. You could halve the recipe if you like. I would recommend using a 9-inch round if you don't have a bunt, or even an 8-inch round to make it. So all I'm going to do is spray the tin with a little baking spray. You could use oil and just brush it around, or you could use melted butter as well, whatever you have, no problem. So this cake is going to bake for 50 to 55 minutes. It totally depends on your size of tin. If you are baking in a 9-inch, it might take a little longer. If you're baking in a loaf tin, you would need 2 loaf tins if it's a 7-inch loaf or an 8-inch loaf tin. But this one is going to take 50 to 55 minutes. So at the mark of 50, I'm going to check my oven and see. Alrighty. So to make the icing, I've got some icing sugar and I'm going to use lemon juice. I don't need a lot because I want it to have a nice consistency, so I'm going to keep adding it as I go. So you want to gently mix this around. So once your cake has cooled down completely, it should take a couple of hours. You then want to ice it. I just want to drizzle some of this lemon icing on the top. Today would be great. Oh, there we go. Can we please take a moment to appreciate this beauty before, ooh, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it, before I slice into it. I mean, this looks perfect. This is the kind of cake you see on the cafe counters that you want to buy. If you enjoyed this recipe, please make sure to let me know in the comments below your thoughts about it. If you made it, I would love to see how it turned out. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, ninjas, for more recipes like this and a lot more fun food content coming at you twice a week, in case you've forgotten. That's all for now. Positive ninja vibes. Oh, I have to eat the cake. This is, I'm sorry, but this is not a fork kind of cake. This is a hand kind of cake. So let's just like bite into it. But can you see the layers? Like, can you see the layers of the cake and the streusel and this cake and this was, okay, let's go. Oh my. Sweet baby Jesus. This is something like your grandma would make when you go around her house. It's absolutely divine. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna be here eating my grandma cake. Okay, bye.